Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I am B, or King B, as I'm calling myself as of late, to channel in that energy of kingliness. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch yesterday's video. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about testimony. And it's interesting for me because if you knew my background, which you might if you've been following me for a period of time, you would know that I don't come from any religion. In fact, the polar opposite. My mother routinely tried to convince me that God didn't exist, that there was nothing. It was just nothingness out there. And so I was in the closet spiritualist for most of my life, and really until my Kundalini awakening, when that closet door came crashing open, thanks to Kundalini. So because I wasn't raised in any faith, like zero faith whatsoever, this journey has been more than a little bit challenging for me to get into alignment with soul and try to navigate my way through spiritual understanding in a 3D matrix that is full of false lights and misguidance and confusion, utter confusion. So throughout the last 30 plus years of my life, I've been seeking the solution to finding the path out of suffering any which way I can. I most resonated for years with Buddha's teachings, and then I moved on to other teachings. I've kind of looked and dabbled a little bit in all of them. Mind you, Hindu is one that I don't know a huge amount about, so I don't profess to be an expert by no means. When it came to Christianity, I was very much pushed away from it growing up. In fact, I can remember many situations where my mother would routinely ridicule those that would have considered themselves to be Christian, born again Christian, and she kind of promoted that within me as well. And so I was quite standoffish from the Christian community. And in my awakening, I've, in sheer desperation, to be honest with you, I've looked everywhere. Again, that where am I going to get some comfort? And so I ended up buying a Bible. I ended up, trying to learn as many teachings as I could as expressed through these ancient texts. And where that all led me, my entire history is, if I am going to put a label onto myself, it would be omniist. If you have never heard the term omniist before, what it basically means is I believe that there is truth embedded in all religions. I also believe that there is misguidance embedded in all religions. Because that is spirit is beyond any one man's interpretation of it. As soon as you give the name God to God or spirit or the universe, the creator, anything you want to call it, as soon as you give a linguistic label, you minimize what it actually is. It's kind of like beyond words. It's beyond the limited scope of our human ability to formulate. So my sense of spirituality can't be encapsulated within only one religion, because that is limited in scope. How I always used to define it to my son growing up, who is funny, he grew up in Ireland for 10 years where it's primarily Catholic, and he would often define himself as half Catholic, half Buddhist, and I'm like, that works for me, whatever works, floats your boat, you get to choose these things. But what I would do is I would put a can of Coke, and I wish I had one, but I don't, but a can of Coke on the counter, and say that this is spirit, you know. And if you're looking at a can of Coke and you've got the vantage point of just looking at the lettering, that's like one religion saying God is Coca-Cola. You know, that you see the lettering, that's what it is. But this religion over here sees the ingredients, and so they'd be like, oh, no, you're wrong. God is these ingredients. And then this one over here has manufacturing information, and so they're looking at it and they're saying, no, God is all this manufacturing information. When the reality is God is all of those things, in my opinion. So you need to look at it from a whole perspective, and see it from every single angle. And religions limit themselves in their scope by not looking at it from every angle. As soon as you discount somebody else's religion, in my opinion, you're robbing yourself of opportunities to learn really valuable lessons. In my own life, I had to learn and accept that my negating Christian faith was something that I could no longer do, because in your spiritual awakening, anything that you have a strong stance against forces you into dualistic thinking. It forces you on a paradigm where if you're thinking something is good or bad, and that's absolute, there's a paradigm at play, there's duality at play, and your awakening is bringing you into unity consciousness, which means no duality. Duality becomes collapsed, and you see things from both sides of the coin, so to speak. So because I had such a I don't want anything to do with Christianity, because that's the way I was indoctrinated to grow up, and I'm like, no, that's not for me, you know, all their rules and this and that. It was like throwing the baby out with the bathwater, because there's incredible teachings that Jesus has brought to the world, and there's incredible teachings written throughout these wonderful ancient texts. Where it gets distorted is when it goes through the translation of one human's interpretation of it. So in my awakening, I had to collapse duality in regards to having a standoffish approach to something, and see it more from, okay, well, what can I get from this? And what can this provide me, these teachings, because I need help. You know, I'm going through dark night of the soul, and I'm desperate here. And even the term dark night of the soul was coined by St. John of the Cross, who wrote a book in the 1500s sometime, and he himself was deeply embedded into the religious faith. I did read the book, and it was like, it's a heavy read, but I still found truths embedded within it, and I found truths embedded within the Bible, and reading. And my Bible's not actually really a Christian kind of Bible. You're not your standard one. Sorry, the next door neighbor's dog was barking, and I find it exceptionally difficult to do videos when there's like this loud bark going on in the background. I was talking about diving in to some of the ancient texts, such as the Bible. Oh, and my Bible is not your traditional Bible, because it refers to Jesus as Yeshua and God as Adonai. So it's kind of this in-between Bible. It's called the Tree of Life Bible. It's in between Jewish texts of the Torah. So it is the Torah and then the Bible kind of like mashed into one, which resonated with me because I like things being merged together and coming together in unity. Hence why I call myself an omniist now. Previously called myself a Buddhist, now call myself an omniist. But as I've been diving in to these teachings, seeking comfort, guidance, grace, the one thing that has been, particularly important to me is learning about the concepts of the armor of God. Because spiritual warfare is very much a thing, and it can come in many forms, so it can. And I've had to learn to not only surrender to God, but to armor myself up with God. And if you don't like the word God, that's okay. You don't have to. As I said, it's just a linguistic choice of words. You can use whatever word you want to use that resonates with you, the universe, the divine, the creator, whatever it is. It really doesn't matter, because any word, as I said, that you put on it shrinks what it actually is. It's beyond language. And one of the aspects of the armor of God is truth. And it's been a challenge for me not to know truth. I've known truth my whole life. I am a truth seer, and that's why I was always like, something's wrong in this household. Like, something seriously is amiss here. And then I'm also been a truth teller, and telling truths has not done me very well in life. Because people don't like the truth. It took me a really, 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 really long time, like 50 years long time, to figure out that what people communicate 98% of the time is not the truth. And very few people I have met in my life, at least my previous life, because I'm moving into a new life now, so it's different because Soul Tribe resonates differently. But in my old life, very few people spoke truth. And because people didn't speak truth, instead they spoke gaslighting. Because I would see the truth, I would call out the truth, and they would say, no, that's not what I'm thinking. That's not what's going on here. And then I'd be like, I'm so confused. Energetically, I'm feeling something. I'm picking up on something. I know something. I sense something. I'm sensitive to something. All of the above. And now you're telling me that I'm wrong. So I internalized that as I must be broken. There's something in me that's like off. And I trigger people in a way that I don't understand why. And it was so heartbreaking to me for so long. And on this awakening path, one of the biggest lessons that I have learned is to trust my own intuition. Even when all facts around me look different, even when there's a mass group of people that are all collectively saying, this is what it is and you're wrong, and I'm standing alone, I'm like, no, I'm still going to trust in my intuitive knowings over your collected. And even when I've had people that I loved and cared about incredibly make such a dichotomy, like they ripped apart reality in a way that was beyond hurtful for me, because it was like I wanted to be loved and accepted by them, but to do so meant negating my own personal truth. So truth has been a difficult thing to navigate. So it has. But ultimately, this armor of God that we are bestowed, truth is our ultimate sword. It is what cuts through the bullshit and the fuckeries and everything else. And you know the truth, and I know the truth. And just because a whole bunch of other people are misdiagnosing you or telling you it's wrong, or you're the problem, or that's not the truth. You know, on a soul level, that's not the truth. Your soul knows. Your ego might be in a state of panic. Your inner child might have absorbed a lot of misprogramming. But the fundamental truth is that you are not flawed. You are a divine being of light that obtains a lot of power. And the reality is, the more truths that you've been telling, what it has been doing is causing a ripple effect outside of you, making people who are still trapped in their shadow respond in projection, deflection, gaslighting, manipulation, lying, and any number of other things. So there's been like a disconnect of reality. There's the reality that you are sensing, and then there's the reality that everybody else is scripting. And I don't mean just like your family, but society as a whole has been indoctrinating us and scripting us to believe certain things all the way along. You know, if you are you have ADD as a child, you were diagnosed as having a disorder or having a problem because you couldn't sit still. And so instead of the environment needing to change, you must be the problem. Or if you were in a situation where, you know, you're hypersensitive to stimuli, emotional and physical stimuli, you know, you're hypersensitive and, you know, you need to like find a way to dull that down or develop thicker skin. What, you don't like my insults? You know, that's on you. That's not on me to correct my behaviors. Then society says, you know, if you're not conforming into this mold, then you have depression, you have anxiety. So here are all these other labels that are all used to help keep you into this state of conforming. And none of those things is the truth. And so on my awakening journey, I have been forced to stand in my truth multiple times. And it's been exceedingly difficult and challenging because that requires opening the throat chakra fully so that you can express yourself clearly. And I've spoken in many videos that communicating has been exceptionally challenging for me because most of my life I did not feel heard, seen, valued, respected, any of the above, all of the above. In fact, I received the opposite. If I spoke truth, I was raged at, I was ridiculed, I was laughed at, I was bullied. So speaking truth became a scary act, an act of rebellion. And incorporated in that was also fear of releasing secrets. So many of us who have been abused in our lives, whether that be sexual abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, psychological abuse, you know, there's umpteen forms of abuse out there. Oftentimes we were told, and it was never a direct telling, like, shush, you don't tell the family secrets, although maybe it was. Maybe you were told and indoctrinated, you know, in a society that says you don't air your dirty laundry in public. And so instead of having a safe place to communicate truth, you know, if you had gone to a parent and said, listen, this family member has done something to me and I don't think it was appropriate and I didn't like it, and then negated you or they shut it down because of their own shame and their own traumas, then you learned that speaking isn't safe. It's not safe to communicate. And perhaps along with that came some indoctrination of fear of authority, fear of the police, fear of doctors, fear of medical practitioners, fear of teachers. Because if you're holding a family secret, then communicating about it is got a pre-programming shame window or guilt window that comes back and like slams in your face. It's like you open the door and you go, I want to tell my story. And boom. Oh my God, what will people think? What will people do? I'm going to get in trouble. There's going to be consequences. Oh no. And so it doubly locks up your throat chakra and your ability to communicate clearly the truth. So on my awakening journey, I have been constantly pushing myself further and further and further into communicating bravely and courageously things I was terrified to say. My videos have not been easy. There have been many videos that I've sat in front of the camera that I was out of my mind in terror to say out loud because I was terrified of the consequences. As it turns out, there were none. A couple, other than my own family giving me thumbs down for a series of videos. I don't think they watch anymore, but and my own family telling me that I was deeply flawed human for having to go onto YouTube to deal with my woundings. You know, not everybody needs to go onto YouTube and talk about their problems, was what one family member had to say to me. I since don't have any contact. Not that I really had contact before, so I don't know. Thanks for throwing a brick at me while I'm down, but good. So the family structure, there's like layers upon layers upon layers of indoctrination saying, you know, don't do that, don't speak, don't communicate, don't tell. And that is when we become more and more empowered and more ensouled and more in line with our mission, we realize there will come a point in time where you need to speak. You need to speak. And when that time comes, you're not going to feel brave like I am in this present moment. You're going to feel like I did 2 years ago, sitting in front of a video, like, you could see my inner child activated whenever I'm kind of like this, holding it back, you know, putting up like, oh, I got to hold this stuff in. But I want to communicate to you and inform you how vitally important it is to start speaking the truth. It is incredibly important. And because of this, I'm going to go a little bit into my own personal experience, like I always do. The worst truth I've ever had to communicate was the truth bomb, that nuclear warhead bomb that landed upon my head roughly around 2 years ago when my ex decided to come clean completely and utterly with everything he had done, not only to me, but to 3 innocent children when he himself was a young teenager. So, and when that happened, it was like a nuclear warhead landed on my head and split me into like completely a compartmentalized aspect of myself. And compartmentalization happens because I myself was abused as a child. Sexually. It's still something that I'm struggling to fully comprehend and understand. And I always carried with me certain memories my whole life. So it was like seeing a 2-second or 3-second clip of a movie, and then in my awakening, I was shown like half an hour of the movie, if not more, like way more information. And I'm like, did that really happen to me? That couldn't have happened to me. What? This is what? No, this has to be something else. And when I say I had memories, so let's talk a little minute about repressed memories. It wasn't like I was just sitting and drinking a cup of tea and my mind was drifting off and then like, oh, there's a memory. No, I was lying in bed in terror. My body was releasing the memory. My body remembered. So it did. And like I was like in convulsions. So I was. The terror that was coming off of me, I was screaming. I was in absolute panic and like terror, absolute terror. Because that was my inner child that had been holding on to these locked memories for as long as she had, because she had been compartmentalized. That aspect of me had been sent into a blocked off room where I had no access. I couldn't access that information because I wasn't emotionally mature enough to be able to handle it at that time. And so through my awakening, and this is like only 2 years, I've been kind of coping with this. And even last night, I was shown more. I now no longer respond from a place of like panic and like, oh no. I'm integrating the truth. And in integrating the truth, it takes some time. So back to my story of this truth bomb that compartmentalized me and sent me into that compartment of the don't tell. This isn't happening. This isn't going on. And so I immediately went into denial. So I did. I immediately forgave. Like within half an hour, I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened to you. You did that, those things. It's all right. You know, we can work through this. You're being honest now with me. And it worked like hook, line, and sinker to pull me back into that compartmentalized thinking of things are going to get better. Everything's going to be okay now. It's going to be okay. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. So I was in that void space of cognitive dissonance that I didn't even realize existed to that extent. I'm still amazed and shocked by how much and how I just, like, it was like, if this is reality for you, I was like, I can't do reality. I can't handle reality. I just can't even. So I'm just going to, like, not even is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to become so disassociated. So it felt a lot of ways like my awakening was hijacked. Because I was going along fine with my awakening, well, fine enough, it was difficult, but then it was like into like an alternate reality, like the Twilight Zone. And so from the time that I received that confession, and I, at the time, first had like a total breakdown, and then went into this cognitive dissonance of like, this isn't really happening, everything's fine. That happened a long time ago, and let it go. There was like, I mean, like, my brain was like just not, it's what was happening. So how I was managing to do any videos during that time is beyond me. And then, so that was the spring, and then through the summer, he was in my space, like, no tomorrow. We were hoovering me back in, future faking and being like, I'm going to take care of you and help you because you're really struggling. Because at the time I was having such major pain issues, like the undiagnosed fistula that was misdiagnosed as trigeminal neuralgia, which is known as the suicide disease because the pain is that bad. And the pain was that bad for me because I had an infection that was burrowing a hole through my tissue up through my roof, but nobody could identify it. 6 dentists, 1 endodontist, 1 periodontist, multiple doctors, you know, like they wanted to give me brain surgery and clip a nerve. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Just yet another example of the medical misdiagnosis and gaslighting I've received on that side of the equation too, but that's aside. Let's go back to the story of standing in my power to come to a place of speaking my truth. When it came to September of that year, 2 years ago, so we're coming up on a 2-year anniversary, I caught him in another lie. I said to him, if you ever lie to me again, I will know, because my third eye is open at this point. So I'm like, I will know if you're lying to me. And he's like, I'll never lie again. I swear, you know, I want to put us back together. I want to do it right this time. Like all the bullshit you could possibly imagine. And I caught him in a bold-faced lie. I knew he was lying. Of course, he said I wasn't lying, and I'm like, I don't care, block. I at this stage, because there was a surface reality happening, and then there was another reality when I was alone on my own watching 100 million videos on narcissism, and I mean 100 million, because like every single day I would be watching and accumulating so much information to understand and process through everything, all the wounds that were coming up, all the traumas that were coming up, all the bullshit. I would have never pegged him as a narcissist in a million years. I thought he was a nice guy that had some trauma and was a bit fucked up with ADD. I did not at all know that he was an evil human being. Who is consciously aware. And I go back to that because one of the lines that he had said was, I knew what I was doing was wrong, and I did it anyways. So that line was like a teeny tiny little worm in my brain that was burrowing its way through from this disassociated state, this doorway, this compartmentalized wall. It was burrowing slowly. It took a long time. It burrowed slowly through that wall to get to the other side of run for your fucking life.
Over here, oh, he's lovely, he's nice, he's just, he's had a hard time, his mom's mean. To like run for your life. Run as fast as you can, as hard as you can, and don't stop. Don't stop running. Block, delete. And so then from September all the way up until February of next year, this compartment, this wall, this divide in my mind began disintegrating. Like the worm just kept on going in there and disintegrating. The more knowledge I fed it, so I very strongly recommend to anyone who's going or escaping from narcissism, and it is an escape from narcissistic abuse, watch every single video you can. You're gonna live, breathe, and sleep information about narcissistic abuse, because you're going to be over here in this disassociated self, and you need to bring yourself back over here to what reality is behind the veil, behind the wall. And so I was watching everything there is to watch with Dr. Ramani, Richard Grannon. There are a few others. There's even one fellow, Healness or something, I can't quite recall, a lovely black gentleman who is a diagnosed narcissist who says, these are all the tricks, I'm letting you know what they are. Go read. There's like a plethora of people out there that are doing informative videos on narcissistic abuse, including myself. I have a narcissistic abuse playlist. And so please check it out and watch every single one of them, and go buy Dr. Ramani's book, It's Not You. It is not you. So it took me from September all the way until February as that wall of the in-between, and during meditations I used to visualize light bouncing back and forth between both sides of the hemispheres of my brain so that it could reconnect all the synapses so I could understand truth. You have to know truth before you can speak truth, and you have to understand what it is that happened to you before you can communicate what it is that happened to you. So in that period of time, I was doing self-healings every single day, because that's what I do. That's my job, is I heal myself. First, save yourself, then we save the world. It took me until February to come to a place where that wall had completely disintegrated. There's no more wall. There's no more rose-colored glasses. There's no more programming that I don't see. I can see somebody coming with bullshit faster than you can imagine now. Like I am a narcissist whisperer at this stage. I can pick apart bad communication like there's nobody business. People send me texts all the time, and you're like, can you translate this for me? Even today, this morning, I had somebody send me text messages between them and their husband, and said, can you please translate this for me? And I'm like, absolutely. That's passive aggressive, that's dismissive, that's stonewalling, that's weaponized empathy. And then when you look at it like that, you're like, when you're used to being over here, I'm going to bring you back here, and like you're going to start seeing some shit until we get you into reality again, because they don't want you in reality. They want you in the illusion, the shared illusion that they concoct. They create the reality. They create the reality for you. They script you. And because I was raised by a narcissist, and because I was sexually abused as a child, I was ripe for the picking for somebody that was going to be compartmentalized and not be able to see the very abuse that was happening to me, because I would be disassociated. So bringing myself back into reality was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life. Escaping from a narcissistic relationship, an abusive relationship, there is nothing harder at all. So if you escape and then you start cycling through periods of guilt, shame, confusion, feeling like you need to be pulled back into that reality over here, like, oh my God, the pain is so fucking bad. Maybe I should just go back to stop the pain. It's not that you want to go back. You do not want to go back, but you're like, I am in so much physical pain, emotional pain, angst, anxiety, panic, like it's so bad. It is so bad that you're like, I would rather just go back to my old life. And I was like, oh fuck no, which is when Dr. Romani's ick list comes very useful. Write down everything they've ever done to you. You remember some of those things, you just put them into that area of we're not paying attention to them. Make an ick list. And I wrote down absolutely everything. There was over 100 things in there, and I had it plastered right beside my bed so that if I was waking up in the middle of the night and having a nightmare, or waking up in the morning and having panic, I would look at that ick list and I would remind myself, he molested children. That is fucking the worst ick there is possible. My son wasn't safe in his company, and my soul knew that. My soul, I was over here, but my soul was like, whoa. When I was 40, I had never had a girls trip ever, and I really wanted to take one. So my ex-best friend said, let's go to Mexico together. And I was like, great, we're bringing my son. And she's like, that's not a girls trip. And I'm like, great, we're bringing my son. And I couldn't give you an answer. If you had asked me the direct question, then why are you bringing your son with you on this girls trip? My answer was, because he's my favorite person. That was not the answer. The answer was, on a soul level, I knew he was not safe to be left in my home with him. So this disintegration of this divide of cognitive dissonance, this wall that starts to disintegrate, and the reconnecting of both sides of the hemisphere brought me back into truth, and brought me back into integrity, and it brought me back into, ethics. What is ethically correct? And I could no longer sit on this information. I was like, I need to testify. I need to testify. I need to be heard. I was beyond panicked and in a very, very bad place. And I reached out to my dearest friend, Melissa Spearing. And some of you recognize that name, because I have the Melissa Spearing Seed of Hope initiative, which is a free counseling session for anybody who's in crisis. Because I was in crisis, and she physically paid for me to go into counseling because I didn't know what to do. She's like, you need help. This is huge. So she was the first, one of the first people that I told the truth to. My ex molested children, and this is what I'm dealing with, and this is why I'm struggling. And the first time I told that truth, I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified, because I was carrying so much shame because I hadn't spoken up sooner. I thought that I was a bad person because I should have been told, and I should have 100% in that moment known how to respond. But I've since provided myself with a lot of compassion work because I was in shock. I was in shock. It was bad. It was so bad. My brain power had been completely and utterly stolen from me. It was very bad. I'll never forgive him for stealing my mind. That's unforgivable, and I'm fine with that. I sleep fine with that at night. So I was so scared to communicate. So I had to practice my testimony. And each time that I practiced speaking, I would find myself a safe person, and I would tell my story. And each time I told my story and they witnessed me, I got stronger. And I needed to get stronger, because the ultimate testimony in this particular case was bringing this written confession, because he sent it via text message, which is insane, to the police. But for me, because I had been sexually abused and abused as a child, mentally abused, I was terrified of the police. Like, absolutely terrified of authority figures. Do not speak to authority figures. They're scary people. They're going to do things like take you away, was the threat that I got as a child who was a child of adoption, that if I opened up and started communicating, there was the threat of I wouldn't get to stay living in my home. I would be yet again ripped up and moved into where? An institution? Where would I go? Oh my God. So all this panic and fear. The day came that I finally was like, I have to do this. I have no choice. I have to do this. I was lying on my yoga mat with my feet up against the wall, bawling my eyes out, crying, having a panic attack as I'm on the phone to victim services. Thank God they provided me with some counseling, trauma counseling as well. And shaking, you know, and so then it gets time, I'm speaking to the constable and I'm like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, why are you apologizing? I'm like, I should have said it sooner. And she said, you said it now. That's all that matters, is you've said it now. Like, she was very kind and compassionate on the phone, which I was most impressed with. Unfortunately, being a historical case, it looks like it's completely gone nowhere. But, you know, should his victims ever come to a place of, I need to speak my truth and I need to make my testimony, it's going to be a lot easier for them with a written confession waiting for them at the police station. As well, if he ever steps out of line and does anything inappropriate to anyone else and they report him, there's going to be a confession waiting for them at the police station. So I ultimately did the right thing. I made a very, it took me a long time, but I made an ethical choice that was morally my responsibility beyond anything else. And I don't regret it. I do not. I have zero regrets about it. But I wanted to talk about it because I want to talk about testimony. I want to talk about what is required to take that sword of truth and cut the binds that hold you captive to a paradigm of abuse through the fuckery that is shame, and let you know that it's okay to state your truth. Certain things about stating your truth, I will say, is be cautious of who you state your truth to. Not everyone I gave my testimony to supported me. There was one person who was a friend of mine at the time who turned around and decided that I should be labeled as vindictive, which I am not. If I was vindictive, I would have made a blow up of the text messages and put it in the town square on a giant board. That would have been vindictive, or mailed it out to everyone he knows. Those acts would have been me being vindictive, because I would have been stepping into the energy of, I'm going to lay out the consequences. It's my job to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner. That's not my job. My job is to testify. My job is to be a witness for those that haven't spoken up yet, because maybe one day they will. And so I'm no longer a friend for calling me vindictive and saying that I should just let him get on with his life. And I'm like, but what if he's a risk to somebody else? So the warning comes from that story is to let you know, not all people are going to be able to hold space for you and hold you in your testimony as somewhere safe, a nice, safe container where you can speak your truth, where you are going to be shown compassion, understanding, care, nurturance, support, and guidance. Be very careful who you choose. So that's point number one that I want to make. Point number two is each time you testify your story, you're basically announcing it to God's court. Okay, so divine justice is hearing your testimony. If you're keeping that all locked up inside of you and you're not communicating it, you're not testifying to the divine. And so the divine needs to hear it. And so finding a safe place to communicate it does more than one thing. Okay, so one, it activates and puts a ball in motion for divine justice. Now, once that ball's in motion, unfortunately, we need to step back and just wait it out, and they'll receive their karma in due time. It's frustrating, and I have demanded justice numerous times. Like, where is the justice for me, for my son, for these victims, and for any other victims that he has fucked with? Where is the justice? I demand it now. But I live in a little bubble. It's not, as I said, it's not for me to see. Unfortunately, it's not for me to know. I have to leave that in the hands of God. As well as divine justice that kicks up is also a process of empowering, because it's like a purging of all the secrecy and a purging of all of the shame and all of the fear and all of the anxiety. These things get purged out to you while you're testifying. So giving your testimony, and even if your snot is rolling down your face and you're blubbering and you're wailing and you're shaking, it's coming out. And if it's coming out, that means you don't need to carry it anymore. That is no longer your cross to bear. You have relieved yourself of the cross to bear, and it then gets put back onto the person that should have been carrying the cross in the first place. So energetically, it's a transference of energy saying, this is not my debt to carry. I give it back from whence it came. And, again, divine justice will take care. And as for me, I can now begin to heal. My body can begin to heal because I'm not harboring all this toxic shit inside of me. I'm not holding on to it. I am releasing it with every tear, every shout, every snot that bubbles and comes down your face. Every sweat storm that you have, every vomit that you experience, because the truth can be so violent and so horrific that you end up vomiting. Done it many times. And so we need to release all of these secrets that are burning us from the inside out. It's like swallowing down nuclear waste and wondering why we're sick. Wondering why we have all these symptoms. And it's because we're holding on to stuff that, first of all, isn't ours to hold on to. It should have never been ours in the first place. I am not going to own the shame because some adults did vile, disgusting things to me when I was a child. That's their shame to carry. That's not mine. That's their cross to bear. So in speaking truth, loudly, clearly, openly, concisely, directly, making reports, blowing whistles, saying what you need to say is part of this awakening process. It's a necessary part of this process, is to, at some point in time, give your testimony. Now, if you need a safe container to be able to practice saying out loud the experiences that you experienced, and I know all of you out there that resonate with me can relate on some level to my stories, otherwise you wouldn't be watching me. If you need a safe container to be held for you, so you can say, I fucking hate my dad, he did such and such, my mother was a bitch, she never protected me from him, whatever the scenario was, okay? You can say whatever you want to me. I am not going to judge you. I am not going to criticize you. I am not going to blame you, shame you, gaslight you. I am going to hold space for you. I'm going to allow you to cry. I'm going to allow you to express safely in a container that you feel held, you feel seen, you feel heard, because your testimony is needed in this world. And maybe it's just you need to say it once and you get it out of your system and you're done. Maybe once you practice, you want to go and make some reports. I don't know what it is for each and every one of you. I'm just throwing it out there, how incredibly important it is to testify, to make your truths known, to pick up that sword and speak it, wearing the armor of God and saying, this is what happened to me, and I demand divine justice. I demand divine intervention. I am the commander of my reality from this day forward, and I will no longer carry the shame that never belonged to me in the first place. This is my battle cry, and I will shout out like thunder the truth, so it is known in this realm and all the spiritual realms before. The truth shall set me free. Woo! That's a doozy of a video today. Feeling empowered in my commander energy as we are in day 25 more days till my liberation, when I can cut the cords using my armor of God in all the ways that it shows up for me. I can see the truth, I can hear the truth, I can know the truth, and I can speak the truth. The only way to go is up. The only way to go is up. I have been in hell in my life too long. I will walk out, crawl out, roll out if I have to. I am sending everybody out there that has experienced things that they never should have experienced my love, my compassion, my understanding, my awareness, my knowledge, and my ears. I am holding space for you in my heart. I am praying for you each and every day. I am sending you the utmost love. If you would like to book with me, please send off an email to justbeing@gmail.com. That's JUST, the letter B, being@gmail.com, and let's get something on the books for you. If you would like to join the Spiritual Warrior Support Group, please hop into that over on Facebook. If you would like to join the Spiritual Warrior Support Group Zoom meetings, those are being held Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Fridays at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, so that my Europeans have access as well. I look forward to meeting with you. I look forward to discussing any of your concerns, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for seeing me, hearing me, and knowing me. I am so incredibly grateful. It is beyond words for every single like, share, word of mouth recommendation that I am receiving. That is how I am growing. I know it. So every word of mouth recommendation that I receive, I am saying thank you, and thank you. I thank you for all of the donations, any supers, any memberships, anything that's keeping me slightly above that line of drowning, and that's where I've been for a very long time. It's just about here. So I thank you absolutely from the bottom of my heart. With that all said, peace. Peace in.